Did you know that Radix has never won against a horizontal spinner? Only about 1 out of every 8 matches Radix has had is against this archetype, yet they account for nearly half of my total losses. I'm currently 0-6 against those meddling mid-cutters, and an undercutter, and we are gonna fix that. In June 2025, I lost a slugfest against Caldera. My front TPU armor failed, exposing my weapon pulley and belt 1 minute 45 seconds into the fight. Lasting nearly 2/3 of the fight against one of the best mid-cutters in the game, I tweaked the infill and wall settings of my nose armor, added pins, and called it a day. Following these tweaks, I was rewarded by getting 2-tapped against Monkfish at the 2025 championship. I needed to go back to the drawing board, and by that, I mean my weights spreadsheet. In order to protect against horizontal spinners, it has long been my dream to add a steel nose, called a cope slope, to Radix. However, that piece and mounting hardware will weigh about 65 grams, which is 0.14 pounds, a third a cup of uncooked long-grain rice, 2.5 slices of whole wheat bread, or 5% of my total weight budget. To make weight, I finally parted ways with one of my favorite parts of Radix, my Castle Creations Micro Mamba X2, and replaced it with the iFlight Blitz E80. This saved me 32 grams. I swapped my printed weapon braces for carbon fiber. I thought this would save more, but it brought the assembly down from 99 to 88 grams, saving 11 grams. I made the robot a 1/4 inch shorter, which saved 15 grams, mostly from the smaller wheels. Finally, I swapped my aluminum top and bottom plates to carbon fiber, which saved me 30 grams. These changes saved me about 88 grams total, and gave me 23 grams to play with after adding the cope slope. However, segmenting the frame to make it more serviceable and using a denser brand of TPU ate this remaining weight budget. Let's get to machining. I'm part of the Northeastern Combat Robotics team now, and I'd like to thank Lucas in particular for showing me how to use the CNC and spending many long hours getting these parts made. Machining parts put me behind my usual timeline for building Radix, but not uncomfortably so. The real drama began 2 weeks before competition, when I sent these parts to get heat treated. USPS failed to deliver the package, and it was returned to me. However, I was out of town for the week, being home with my family for my brother's graduation. As a quick aside, I did bring some work home with me. I had 2 identical aluminum parts, my weapon hubs, one to tap and one to extract broken taps from. I freed the broken taps by dissolving the steel in an alum bath. This is a really cool process, and it will be important later. Monitoring the tracking status from 400 miles away, I was helpless as I observed USPS once again failing to deliver my package back to my apartment. It was likely because the package was originally sent signature certified and I was not there to sign for it. However, in a previous phone call to USPS, I was assured this wouldn't be an issue. After several more phone calls to USPS corporate, my local post office, and the local post office reaching out to the driver, we agreed that the package could be picked up at my local office by my Northeastern teammate Emilio. Shout out to my sponsor Hardline Heat Treating. Despite not having the usual lead time, they agreed that if they had the parts by Monday morning, they could have them treated and delivered back to me by Thursday before competition. The window was tight, but the plan was simple. Deploy Emilio to my local post office at 4:30 p.m. Have him get the package and ship it using UPS instead of USPS before 6 p.m. to arrive on Monday morning to Hardline Heat Treating. However, at 4:15 p.m., I get a call back from the local USPS office when the driver returned from his route. I was informed that the package had indeed been delivered, but the wrong code was scanned. At this point, I am coordinating the operation from the car as we drive to my brother's graduation. Since Emilio was already at the post office, I had him check anyway and confirm it was at my apartment. After receiving confirmation, he went there. To our dismay, no package was there to be found. Our best guess at the time was that the package was small enough to be placed in the locked letter box. However, my apartment mates were not in town either and could not check. The trail had gone cold. I did have one more plan. Saturday, I got back to Boston and confirmed the cope slopes were in my mailbox. Monday, at 4:30 a.m., I woke up and went to the local T station. At 5:18 a.m., I got on the first train of the day and headed inbound to Boston. At 5:25, I arrived in Back Bay and sprinted to the commuter line platforms to catch the 5:30 a.m. commuter line to Worcester. At 6:50, I arrived in Worcester. At 7:30 a.m., I took a bus to Southbridge. At 8:20 a.m., I got off near Hardline Heat Treating, and then I walked a mile and was able to deliver the parts by 9. We had done it. The cope slopes were in Hardline's hands, and I made my way back to Boston to finish the rest of the bot before competition. It's Saturday morning, the second match of the day. I am cage-side with my machinist, blacksmith, and armorer, Lucas. Across from us is a new bot from Team Force Nova, Goop, driven by Chris, who is coached by TJ.
3, 2, 1, wait.
This match was frustrating. The first minute was a textbook undercutter match. Goop was on its back, I was striking the wheels, and TJ was telling Chris to tap. However, all it took was one combo and the match turned on its head. I had come in prepared for horizontal spinners, but I felt a new rivalry brewing. Radix versus the Reachford. Hats off to you, Chris, you have a ferocious bot. For the first time in 30 matches, Radix's weapon stack had failed. One of my bearings had exploded and I was unable to remove the weapon shaft. The backup weapon hub I had spent hours dissolving taps out of was swapped in. I had also lost a side of drive, with my blitz light and drive plate both being blown up from a direct hit. Goop was not left unscathed, as Radix had successfully bent their blade. Repairs were complete, and my next fight was against Blacksite Specimen. The driver Jacob warned me before the fight that the weapon spin-up was impaired by a bad current limit on the weapon ESC. Upon observing the limited weapon functionality for myself, I took a very conservative approach to this match, keeping my weapon just below half power. The damage added up on Black Site Specimen, and I won the judge's decision. My next opponent was Horidus, a rematch against my new archetypal nemesis, the Reachvert.
Every single moment of this, we are going to go to Ricky and Dima. Take it away.
Thank you, Kyle. I'm really excited. We are in the smaller cage, my original home. We have some very cool looking, very colorful bots.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Fight, robots,
Away we go. Radix up to a quick spin, but they took a huge chunk of the baleen armor off the front of Horidus.
Radix is very no-nonsense with its driving and its weapon, but roof shot from Horidus.
I just love the aesthetic on Horidus, and look at Radix bouncing around the arena. End over end, it's just a wild animal.
It's taking hits in some bad spots here.
Doesn't seem to have a lot of control. There may be drive side issues on one or both wheels, but that weapon is mean.
Now that Radix isn't being juggled, isn't touching the roof anymore, we get to assess what kind of damage it's taken, and now definitely a drive side down.
Yeah, and Horidus, though, has a weapon that has now completely stopped.
It might have done enough damage to
Look, the belt has just shredded itself. The drive belt, or I should say the weapon belt for Horidus is just absolutely crumpled and shredded. And so Radix is gonna look to land a few more blows. It could easily destroy Horidus with a good shot.
Absolutely. The name of the game with undercutters is to try to get vulnerable parts of your opponent robot. And all it's going to take is, even with the drive side down, all it takes is one bad engage on the wheels or on the backs, and it could be lights out for Horidus, but it did a lot of damage in that first minute. That might be enough.
Yeah, but look at the measured control that Horidus is coming at here. It's just lining up shots, very, very meaningful and concentrated approaches from the front. Everything about this is precise, Dima. Look at, that's a great shot of that belt that's just shredded on Horidus. It's dangling out the front like a tongue on an elderly pug.
I was going to say Cowlick, whereas the Japanese might say Ahoge, but either way, it's stopping Horidus from doing any more damage, but it is surviving like a champion in these last 2 minutes.
It is the 30 seconds left is going to be what it's all about. Can Radix do damage to one of these drive sides? Or this is the moment. This is the moment right here. Horidus is on its head. It's looking for an unstick. This is going to be big in the eyes of the judges. Radix has put their opponent into a terrible spot. Towards the end of the match, that sticks with you. Can they do it again in the last 7 seconds? Yes, they can!
Exactly!
That's exactly what they do. Horidus is going to be saved by the bell. And may I remind you, Dima, in the judging criteria, one of the things that matters is if you were saved by the bell, it doesn't guarantee you a win, but it counts heavy in your favor.
Let's get a quick high five.
All right, hey guys, thanks so much. I'm here with Aiden from Radix. Last night, we were talking a lot about redesigns, tearing the whole thing down, building it back up. How do you feel about how it's performing today?
So it's been a mixed bag. I've added a bunch of machine parts to the robot, most notably the cope slope on the front. And to do that, I had to take weight out of other places. So now I'm running carbon fiber top plates instead of my usual aluminum. And I've gotten a lot of hits on the back of my robot so far. So in my first fight, I lost because of that. I almost went through my back plate entirely. This fight, the whole plate's torn up and I have wires hanging out. So the things I've changed have worked well, but the areas I took weight out of have caused some issues so far. But it's still in one piece. The repair shouldn't be too bad, so we're good.
Yeah, awesome. Well, good luck. We hope to see you in more fights later on, and we'll toss it right on back to y'all. Thank you.
Hey, I got my first NHRL interview. Thanks, Gwen. As I said post-match, the new additions to my bot are holding up, but some of the weight-saving measures I had taken, like switching to carbon fiber plates, had been causing me issues. Ending the fight with 2 dramatic flips that incapacitated Horidus gave Radix the win. Despite the win, Radix exited the fight with critical damage. My weapon shaft threads were damaged, which locked them in place and prevented the removal of my weapon stack. Another blitz light was broken due to a direct hit on the shaft, and my top plate was held on by hopes and prayers. I was out of spare parts, and found myself assembling the bot with parts I had previously removed due to damage. My plan was to put my head down and power through the field for as long as Radix could take it. My next opponent was Warp, the reachiest reachvert of them all. Warp is a well-known bot, giving many high-profile robots issues. However, I was sorely unaware of this fact. My scrambling to get ready for this event had prevented me from doing my normal pre-event scouting. I'm currently 1-1 against reachverts on the day. This is the tiebreaker.
Graduate, go Flyers.
All right, we're getting this one started.
You got that big
Weapons up to
horizontal wedge.
speed.
That wedge is terrifying. Warp.
Oh, nasty.
That's a massive hit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Tap out. Radix
One
says
hit.
no more, thank you.
And we are out for the day. Warp destroyed my carbon fiber plates, nearly splitting them in half. My receiver, my 2-in-1 drive ESC, my weapon ESC, and another blitz light. This time by grabbing the phase wires and yanking them out. I came hunting horizontals, and was instead disposed by reachverts. With Radix left in pieces, there was only one thing left to do. Bet him on 17 black. And eat Frank Pepe's and Krispy Kreme as a consolation prize, while spending 30 minutes lost in a casino. The reason I quoted Sun Tzu at the beginning of this video is because it reflects a sentiment shared by combat robot builders. As Jameson Go says, if you armor everywhere, you armor nowhere. The rear of my bot is intentionally left vulnerable to make the front extra strong. However, when my method of attack spins Radix in a circle on every impact, I'm gonna need to be able to take a few hits on the back. With all the optimization I've done for the bot, pulling weight out of anywhere feels like pulling teeth at this point. At least that's what I thought for about 3 hours on the way home. I came to the realization that the cope slope is an unnecessary and easily removable part when fighting reachverts. I can have an extra thick TPU bumper on the rear, and better mounting for my top and bottom plates with minimal redesign. I'm also cooking up some solutions to prevent another bearing failure, and for taking direct hits on my top and bottom plates, but I'll save those for another video. I'll see you guys in the next one.